Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports, and today I'll be going through my SAA team with a couple of T's and C's which I'll get to in a minute. But basically the Springbok squad is going to be selected, or announced rather, on Saturday the 5th of June at 6 o'clock South African Standard Time. There will also be a press conference taking place about an hour later, which we will be in. So if you want to see clips from Rugby Erasmus, if you want to see what Jacques Nienaber has to say about the squad, make sure right now, before we go any further, to hit the subscribe button and turn your notifications on. We'll have clips from Rugby Erasmus. Obviously, we're going to be covering the Rainbow Cup as well. But very, very exciting times as we are pretty much a month away from the first British and Irish Lions game in South Africa, and with the Bok squad being announced on Saturday, it all suddenly starts to become quite real. I mean, we're less than a month before the British and Irish Lions take on Japan. So today, I'm going to be looking at my SAA team, and as I said, there are a few T's and C's. First of all, this won't be the SAA team, and the reason for that is because as a result of COVID regulations, the SAA team is going to be pulled from the 45-man squad that will be announced on Saturday. So the plan is to announce a 45-man squad, and that squad will be the same for the two Georgia tests and the SAA game. So for those three games. Once the SAA game is finished, then it will be trimmed down a little bit to the final squad for the three tests itself. So it won't be a 45-man squad for the three Lions tests, but it will be a 45-man squad for those other three games. As a result, unfortunately, it means players can't just come into the setup for the SAA team, which probably would have been the case in the past. It is also bearing in mind that this is an SAA team, which means that this is basically the Springboks B team, as opposed to an SA Invitational side, which is mainly players who are uncapped. Often a coach from the local setup gets called up and gets his own coaching staff, and they get to invite players who they reckon are either future Boks or maybe didn't get an opportunity over their career because of this unbelievable depth in that specific position, and they get together and they put a team together and they get to play. So unfortunately, we won't be seeing that, which is a little bit sad, because I think it's a great game for some players who sometimes get overlooked, and even coaches to try and go and express themselves. But this is going to be an SAA team, which is technically the Springbok B team. And as a result, there will be some players who are maybe not are regular Springboks or at least regular squad members. But unfortunately, the biggest problem with having this sort of 45-man squad is it means that you can't bring in a couple of players that you would like to maybe have a look at just for that one-off game. You've got to name 45 players who will be able to play across this. So this means that you're limited with the amount of players you can have. You can't have 15 props in the squad, 12 props in the squad. Which is frustrating, because I think, it gets to games like this where you probably will like to give certain players an opportunity to try and run out and stuff like that. Players who are part of the squad but don't always get a run out. But I also think it's a good opportunity to be able to bring in players who are sort of either ones for the future or maybe on the periphery, and sort of say, you know what, let's just have a gamble. Let's just see what they can do. We know what that player can do. He's been doing it for 10 years. But we've got maybe a 23, 24-year-old player. Let's actually see how he can fit into the setup. Is he ready for this level? Let's try and do it. So my squad at the moment is a bit of a mixture of players who I think will be in the squad and players who I think could be in the squad in the future, as well as players I think that they would like to have a look at, and players that I would like to have a look at. So yeah, I mean, it's not going to be the SAA team that we will see. Let me tell you, get that straight right now. This is not going to happen because of the regulations. If it wasn't for the regulations, maybe this could have happened. But yeah, this is just my team. As I said, there are a few T's and C's, but it's my channel, my rules. So I get to do what I want, and you're going to have to deal with it, I suppose. But let me know what you would change, and let me know what your SAA teams are down in the comments below. Really looking forward to doing it. All these sort of videos and this sort of content, which always creates a bit of a stir, because everybody's got their own sort of players they would like to have, combinations they would like to try, and it's always very interesting to hear what everybody would like to think. Right, without any further ado, let's get into it. Right, so I'm going to be naming a 23-man squad. So starting 15 as well as a bench. And I cheated a little bit on the bench, but we'll get there when we get to the bench. Right, so first up, a front row. And I have gone with Oxenchair, Joseph Dwebe, and Wilco Low. Oxenchair speaks for himself. I think he's been very good in the Super Rugby and Currie Cup. I think that he's definitely pushing Lizo Gqoboka for that spot on the bench. For the Springboks itself, I think that a fit Lizo Gqoboka is probably a better player. I think that he's probably a little bit ahead of Oxenchair because of his scrummaging ability. But Oxenchair has been very good, and has also, more importantly, been very fit in terms of being able to play all these games. Joseph Dwebe is a player that I was very upset to see leave South African shores. He's a brilliant player, though. Very physical, loves the physical side, a very passionate player, and I'd really like to see him get an opportunity in this upcoming series. And then Wilco Low is a player who's been around and never really had the opportunity to sort of show exactly what he has. He's behind a few players here and there. I mean, when you've got the likes of Frans Malherbe, you've got Vincent Koch, you've got so many good. I mean, Trevor Nyakani got so many good titles. I would quite enjoy seeing Wilco Low getting an opportunity there. So that's my front row. In the locks, I've gone with Marvin Orie and Ruan Nokia. I think Ruan Nokia will be a future Bok. I would have gone Salman Murat, but it looks like he's injured. He's not going to be available. So that's why I didn't go, because I would have loved to have seen a Murat, Ruan Nokia combination, because I think that would be a future lock combination. It'd be very interesting to see how they would have gone together. And Rassie Russell was even saying that somebody like Murat was definitely on the radar and would have been in the frame for selection had he not been sort of currently sidelined with injury. So I think Marvin Orie provides a nice bit of experience, very good at the lineouts, and Ruan Nokia, we've seen what he's been doing at the Bulls. You know, a workhorse gives you the same performance week in, week out, very consistent, becoming a very important part of Jags White's side. For the loose trio, I've got Marco van Staden, Ulrich Lowe, and Marcel Coetzee at 8th man. Played quite a lot of 8th man at Ulster, and I think that'll be quite a nice loose trio. I think that those three players will be in the box squad. I think Ulrich Lowe is probably sort of the one that is still a bit of a question mark, but I think he's been putting in some terrific performances. We know it's a matter of time. You know, there are certain players you watch and you just know it's not will they become a Bok, it's when will they become a Bok, and he's one of those players. Marco van Staden, you can't ignore it at the moment, and I think that Ulrich Lowe, Marco van Staden, and Marcel Coetzee will be a very nice combination. You've got van Staden, who's so good over the ball. You've got the physicality and the ball carrying abilities of Lowe and Coetzee. You've got the defensive aspects of all three of them. I think it's everything you'd want in a loose trio. For my halfback combination, I've gone with Kobus Reinach, who I think at the moment is probably going to push Herschel Jantjies to be that reserve scrum half on the bench, playing very well over in Europe. And I've gone with him and Elton Jantjies, because I think that Elton Jantjies probably doesn't make the 23 because we go with a 6-2 split. But he is, in theory, supposed to be our second choice flower half at the moment. So I think if you were to, see, if Pollard's going to get injured, because we all know he's got quite a long-term injury, you've got to see how well Elton can deal against the British and Irish Lions. So play him against the British and Irish Lions. He's over there at the moment in France playing his rugby there. So I think him and Reinach, players who would like to try and push themselves onto the bench, I'll use this game as an opportunity to see what they have. And in terms of my centre pairings, I've gone with two extremes, very experienced, and then the young option. I've gone with Cornell Hendricks at inside centre, and I've gone Wandisile Similani at outside centre. So I could have gone Esterhuizen at inside centre, but I think we know what Esterhuizen's about. Whereas I think Cornell Hendricks has been putting in performances week in, week out. And I think that, if Damien Dealindi got injured, I tell you what, I could see Cornell Hendricks starting at inside centre. I think he's become so good. And obviously we know it's domestic league and stuff like that. And Esterhuizen's been doing it very well at a higher level. But I think that Cornell Hendricks just offers you so much. So, I mean, it's a bit of a fickle coin, but I would use this opportunity to see what Cornell Hendricks can do. And whether he's just doing well at the domestic level, or can he run into a British and Irish Lions backline and still have the same effect. Wandisile Similani kind of speaks for himself. Him and Lakanya Ama have been the standout outside centres in the country, and I also think he's another one. It's a case of when, not if he makes the box themselves. Onto the two wings, I've gone with Roscoe Speckman, who I think will be part of the squad. I think the fact that he's gone to Stormers, they pretty much confirmed that he's going to be part of the box. They said that SA Rugby was saying that they need him to have game time. Reading between the lines, he's going to be played, so they need to make sure he's up to scratch. So that's why he's got on his 2-week loan to the Stormers, where he'll get 2 games. I've no doubt he'll start this weekend. And Madosh Tambwe, you can't really ignore him, can you? He's just scoring tries for fun at the moment. Tyrone Green could also be quite an interesting player to bring over. Finally starting to sort of click at the Harlequins. Raymond Roulet as well is another very good player who I think has been very, very good at La Rochelle in France. Played quite a lot of outside centre as well, so it brings a bit of versatility. And those two, remember, the Raymond Roulet who left the Shorts is a very different player. But I went with those two wings, and fullback was quite an easy selection. You've got to go up a little fast. So you've got to be able to see if what he's doing at the Sharks he can do for South Africa. In every single position you could try and bring somebody else in. The players who I think are probably unlucky not to be part of that starting lineup, or even in 23, are the Esterhuizens, Tyrone Green. Morne Steyn, the reason I'm not putting in Morne Steyn is I don't see the point. We know what he can do at international level. Maybe it's a case of can he still do it at international level? But, if Elton Jantjies is going to be a second choice flower half, give him a run, would be my thinking. And then on the bench, I've gone with a lot of youngsters, I'm not going to lie, and a lot of inexperience in terms of the highest level. So I've gone Dylan Richardson, currently injured, so it probably wouldn't happen anyway. The safe option is to bring Aka van der Merwe from Sale Sharks and chuck him there on the bench, or even start him and have Joseph Dweber on the bench. That would be quite a safe pick. Then I've gone with the two Lions props, Steve Satole and Carly Sari, just because I think they were so good the other day, and they've been quietly holding their own against some of the best scrummagers in the country. You know, they've done very well against the Sharks, and they've done very well against the Stormers, who've got very good front rows. I mean, I think Tole is probably sort of the more questionable one. I think Carlos Hardy will also play for the Springboks one day. I think he's a very, very good player. I think he's one of the best players the Lions have signed in a long time. Obviously, there's always been that ridiculous depth tight head for the Stormers, but I think right now, if he was there, he'd add tremendous value off the bench because he's doing a lot for the Lions. Then I've got Steenkamp from the Bulls there as the lock cover. I think that him and Nokia they really are throwing the gauntlet down. And I think that he's another player who I think will probably push for higher honours in the future. So I'd love to see what he does now. And then I've gone with a 6-2 split, as I said, with Chatuka and Visa completing the scrum replacements. It's a little bit of just I couldn't decide which to leave out. I mean, between Albert Lowe, Jasper Visa, and Vince Chatuka, they've all been playing sensational rugby, and it's so difficult to try and leave one of them out. So I decided to cheat and thought, well, the Springboks often play with a 6-2 split, so why can't the SAA play with a 6-2 split? And I think there's quite a lot of versatility across all those players, even the players on the field. I mean, you've got somebody like Dylan Richardson who can cover flank if needed to, but obviously, and very good at the breakdown. Vince Chatuka and Visa are very confrontational players, but I said if you've got a Van Staden and a Richardson on the field, you know, your breakdown sorted as well. So I think that they would offer quite a lot. Visa obviously covering 8th man and flank. Chatuka can cover both sides of the flank as well. He also played lock at the Lions Academy, so if you really needed to, probably settle down in that second row. And then my two replacements for the back line, I've gone with Jaden Hendrickse. I think his maturity, when you think of how young he is, he reads the game so well. He's had good games, he's had bad games, but I just think that he's going to be a terrific player. And, you know, I think he's going to, it's when, not if, he will make the Springboks. He just seems to have everything, really. He's got a great kicking game, his passing is very good, and he reads the game very well. Very mature player. And I've gone with Johan Goosen because he covers everything. He's been playing in the centres at Montpellier. I think he's going to probably play... he's going to probably play fly half when he comes to the Bulls. Also covers full back, so lots of versatility there. He's a perfect sort of Frans Steyn type player where he covers pretty much every position in the back line. So that's what I think. Obviously, as I said, there's a lot of things you could change, a lot of players you could bring in and bring out. Those are my players I picked with my reasoning. I could easily pick another 23, which would be also pretty good and also have very interesting sort of aspects to it. But let me know what you think. What is your SAA team going to be? Let me know what that is down in the comments. Smash like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow we're going to be going through what we think is going to be the Springbok box squad, looking at sort of the standards, the players we know is going to be in there, maybe a couple of the bolters. So make sure you're tuned in for that as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen, and I'll chat to you very soon.